welcome to a deep dive, into a linguistic world that's, well, it's closer than you might think.
Oh, yeah.
The world of Britonic languages.
Mm.
These languages, they include Welsh, Cornish, and Breton, and they've really left their mark, on the very fabric of Britain.
Yeah.
From place names to everyday words,
Yeah.
and maybe even the way we structure sentences. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to trace their origins, explore their evolution, and uncover their surprising legacy. You might even find yourself seeing the familiar landscape of Britain in a whole new light.
I think what's so intriguing about these languages is their resilience.
Yeah.
Even though they've faced, some significant challenges over the centuries,
Right.
they've left behind an indelible mark, whispering secrets to those who know how to listen.
I love that. So before we get swept away by history, let's clarify some terminology. You might have heard the terms Britonic, and British Celtic used kind of interchangeably.
Right.
They all refer to the same family of languages. But the multiple names reflect how our understanding of these languages has developed over time.
It's like piecing together a puzzle.
Yeah.
Each term, represents a different piece of the scholarly journey.
Right.
Early on, Britonic gained some traction.
Okay.
It was coined by John Rice from the Welsh word Brython, meaning ancient Britons. But as research progressed, Britonic, championed by Kenneth H. Jackson, became the preferred term.
It's so fascinating how even the name of a language family can reveal so much about its history and the people who speak it. But let's get to the heart of the matter. What exactly are Britonic languages?
So imagine a family tree.
Okay.
With its roots stretching back to the Iron Age Britonic languages, they belong to the Insular Celtic branch,
Okay.
which emerged from Proto-Celtic, the ancestor of all Celtic languages.
Got it.
They developed on the British Isles alongside their Goidelic cousins, like Irish and Scottish Gaelic.
Okay. I'm picturing this ancient language evolving, branching out, giving rise to the languages we know today. It must have been such a dynamic period, with migrations and cultural exchanges shaping the linguistic landscape.
Absolutely. We can trace back the arrival of Celtic languages to the Middle to Late Bronze Age.
Wow.
Genetic and archaeological evidence points to migrations from areas like Gaul, bringing with them an early form of Celtic language. So even before the Romans arrived, Celtic languages were already weaving themselves into the tapestry of Britain.
That makes me wonder, what was Britain like before the Romans? Was Britonic the dominant language everywhere?
It's likely that Britonic, or rather Common Brittonic, the ancestor of the modern Brittonic languages,
Right.
was spoken across much of Great Britain.
Wow.
However, there's some evidence suggesting that the Isle of Man had already adopted a Goidelic language. Even back then, Britain was a place of huge linguistic diversity.
So the arrival of the Romans in 43 AD must have had a profound impact, not just politically and culturally, but also linguistically.
Indeed, the Roman occupation, which spanned several centuries, left a lasting mark on Common Brittonic. Imagine the influx of new ideas, technologies, and social structures, all accompanied by this wave of Latin words.
Wow.
Over 800 Latin words found their way into Common Brittonic, many related to concepts introduced by the Romans.
That makes me think of how even something as basic as the word for fish reflects Roman influence in Brittonic languages. It comes from the Latin pisces,
Yeah.
not the original Celtic word. It makes you wonder if the Britons started incorporating Roman cooking techniques, or if fish became a more prominent part of their diet under Roman rule.
That's a brilliant observation. Those seemingly small linguistic shifts can really open up windows into broader cultural changes and power dynamics. In this case, the adoption of pisces might suggest the dominance of Latin in certain spheres of life, like trade or administration.
It's like a linguistic detective story, uncovering clues to the past through the words we use today. So as the Roman Empire crumbled and the legions withdrew in the 5th century AD, what happened to Britonic languages? Did they continue as one unified language?
This is where the story gets even more interesting with the departure of the Romans. Common Brittonic began to diverge into distinct regional dialects. Imagine a tree trunk splitting into branches,
Okay.
each branch developing its own unique shape and character.
So this is where we start to see the emergence of the individual languages we know today. Welsh, Cornish, Breton, and Cumbric? But wait, isn't Breton spoken in France?
You're absolutely right, and that's a fascinating tale of migration during this period of upheaval. Some Britons set sail across the English Channel seeking refuge or perhaps new opportunities and landed in what is now Brittany.
Wow.
They brought their language with them, and over time it evolved into the Breton language we know today.
So a piece of Britain's linguistic heritage took root on the continent, but what about the Britonic languages that remained in Britain? Did they flourish?
Unfortunately, they faced a new set of challenges from the 5th century onwards. Waves of new arrivals began to reshape the linguistic landscape of Britain. Irish-speaking Gaels spread from the north and west, while Germanic peoples, who would eventually form the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, expanded from the east and south.
It must have been such a tumultuous period with languages and cultures clashing and vying for dominance.
Indeed, this period saw the gradual decline of Brittonic languages in many areas. By the 11th century, they had largely disappeared from most of Britain except for Wales, Cornwall, and a few bordering English counties. It's a stark reminder of how languages can be vulnerable to social and political change.
It's almost heartbreaking to think of how close these languages came to disappearing entirely. It really highlights the resilience of those who continued to speak them,
Yeah.
preserving a vital part of their culture and identity.
Their persistence is remarkable, and even in the areas where Brittonic languages declined, their legacy lived on in ways that might surprise you. Place names, loanwords, and even subtle influences on English grammar, these echoes remind us that even languages that fade away can leave a profound and lasting impact.
That's a perfect segue to our next chapter.
Mhm.
We'll delve into those fascinating linguistic echoes, exploring how Brittonic languages have shaped the landscape vocabulary, and perhaps even the very structure of English. Stay tuned, because there's much more to uncover.
I'm particularly excited to explore the concept of a linguistic substrate, the idea that even extinct languages can leave behind subtle fingerprints on the languages that replace them. It's a reminder that language evolution is a complex and fascinating process full of unexpected twists and turns.
Okay, I'm ready to uncover those linguistic echoes. Where can we see the most obvious traces of Brittonic languages today?
We'll look no further than the names on a map.
Oh, okay.
Place names often act as linguistic fossils, preserving traces of languages that might no longer be spoken in a region, and in Britain, Brittonic place names abound, especially in areas where these languages once flourished.
That makes sense. Names are often passed down through generations, even as languages themselves evolve or are replaced.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what are some specific examples of Brittonic place names, even beyond the obvious ones?
Well, some might surprise you. Even major cities like London bear the imprint of Brittonic languages.
Oh, yeah.
The exact meaning of London is debated among scholars,
Mhm.
but its roots likely lie in a Brittonic word. It's fascinating to think that the name of a global metropolis like London echoes a language that's no longer widely spoken in the area.
That's incredible. I never would have guessed that London had such deep linguistic roots. It makes you realize how layered and complex history can be, especially when it comes to language.
Absolutely. And it's not just big cities. Venture out into the countryside, and you'll find a treasure trove of Brittonic place names.
Oh, wow.
Villages, hills, rivers, even individual fields. They often bear names that whisper tales of a Brittonic past. It's like a linguistic map waiting to be deciphered.
This makes me want to go on a road trip armed with a map and a good etymological dictionary. It's like a linguistic treasure hunt, uncovering the stories and history embedded in the landscape.
I encourage you to do just that. Explore the place names in your own area and see what you can discover.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by the hidden connections you uncover.
Okay, so place names are a big one, but what about the words we use every day? Has English borrowed anything from Brittonic languages?
Certainly, though, perhaps not as extensively as from Latin or French. But there are a handful of everyday words that have Brittonic origins sprinkled throughout the English vocabulary.
This is my favorite part. What are some of those words?
Well, take the word bin, meaning a container for storage, or brock, an old word for a badger, and then there's torer, which refers to a rocky hilltop, a common sight in the British landscape.
Those are such simple, familiar words. It's amazing to think that they've been passed down through centuries, connecting us to a linguistic heritage that's often overlooked. It makes me wonder how many other words in English might have hidden Celtic origins.
That's a question that linguists are still exploring, and it leads us to a more controversial and intriguing area: the potential influence of Brittonic languages on English grammar.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. What are we talking about here?
Well, there's a theory still debated among linguists that Brittonic languages might have subtly influenced the structure of English grammar, even though they were largely replaced by Old English. It's a fascinating concept called substrate influence.
So even though Brittonic speakers switched to English, their old linguistic habits might have left a subtle mark on the new language they were adopting. It's like a linguistic ghost shaping the language from the shadows.
That's a very evocative image, and it highlights the complexity of language. Evolution languages aren't static entities. They interact, they influence each other, and they leave behind traces even when they fade away.
Okay, so what are some specific examples of this potential Brittonic influence on English grammar?
One example often cited is the use of do and be as auxiliary verbs in English, what linguists call periphrastic constructions. These are constructions like I do work or I am working.
I use those constructions all the time, but how does that link to Brittonic languages?
Well, these periphrastic constructions are more common in English than in other Germanic languages, and some scholars believe this might be due to the influence of Britonic languages, which also use similar constructions.
So it's like a subtle linguistic inheritance,
hmm
a grammatical fingerprint passed down from Brittonic speakers to English speakers.
Exactly. Of course, this theory of substrate influence is still debated. It's difficult to prove definitively, especially when dealing with languages that left behind relatively few written records, but it's a tantalizing possibility. And it reminds us that language evolution is a complex tapestry woven from multiple threads.
It makes you wonder what other subtle linguistic influences might be hiding in plain sight, shaping the languages we speak, without us even realizing it. But before we delve too deep into the mysteries of language evolution, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, the remarkable resilience of Brittonic languages. Even though they declined in many areas, they didn't vanish entirely. In fact, we've seen a resurgence of interest in these languages, particularly with the revival of Cornish.
That's a crucial point, and it speaks to a deeper truth about language. It's not just a tool for communication. It's a powerful symbol of cultural identity and heritage. The Cornish language revival is a testament to the enduring power of language to connect people to their past, their land, and their sense of self.
It must have been a monumental effort to bring Cornish back from the brink of extinction. What were the driving forces behind this revival?
Well, there were several factors at play: a growing sense of Cornish identity, a desire to reclaim a lost part of their heritage, and a recognition of the cultural and linguistic diversity that Cornish represented.
I can only imagine the dedication and passion it took to rebuild a language that had been dormant for so long. It speaks volumes about the deep connection people feel to their linguistic heritage.
Absolutely. And it's not just about reviving words and grammar. It's about reviving a way of seeing the world, a way of expressing oneself, a way of connecting to a community and a history that stretches back centuries.
That's a powerful reminder that languages are more than just systems of communication. They're repositories of culture, knowledge, and identity, and their loss represents a loss of something much deeper and more profound.
Precisely, each language embodies a distinct cultural perspective, a way of understanding and interacting with the world that's irreplaceable.
So we've gone from uncovering hidden Brittonic place names and loanwords to exploring the potential influence of these languages on English grammar and the inspiring story of the Cornish language revival.
Hmm.
It's been a fascinating journey so far, and I'm eager to delve deeper into the broader significance of what we've learned.
I'm glad you're enjoying the journey. And in our final segment, we'll reflect on what all of this means for our understanding of language, culture, and history. We'll explore the deeper connections between language and identity. And we'll leave you with some thought-provoking questions to ponder as you continue your own linguistic explorations.
Wow, what a journey it's been. Through the world of Brittonic languages, we've uncovered hidden place names, we've explored the evolution of sounds, and we've even pondered the possibility of these languages shaping the very structure of English.
Yeah.
I think what resonates most deeply with me, though, is the realization that languages are more than just words and grammar. They're threads that weave together culture, history, and identity.
That's precisely the heart of the matter. Languages are vessels of human experience, carrying within them the stories, beliefs, and perspectives of the people who speak them.
I'm struck by the idea that even languages that are no longer widely spoken can continue to exert a subtle influence, like a whisper from the past.
Sure.
The theory of Brittonic substrate influence on English grammar is a fascinating example. It makes you wonder what other linguistic echoes might be hiding in plain sight, shaping the way we communicate without us even realizing it.
It's a reminder that language evolution is a continuous process, a dynamic interplay of influences and adaptations, and it highlights the importance of looking beyond the surface, of delving deeper into the historical and social forces that shape the way we speak.
The story of the Cornish language revival is a testament to the enduring power of language to connect people to their heritage. It's a powerful reminder that languages can be brought back from the brink of extinction, revitalized by the passion and dedication of those who value them.
It's a story of resilience, of cultural affirmation, and it offers hope for other endangered languages around the world. The Cornish revival demonstrates that language revitalization is possible, though it requires a multifaceted approach combining community engagement, educational initiatives, and a genuine commitment to integrating the language into everyday life.
It makes you realize that language loss isn't just about the disappearance of words and grammar. It's about the potential loss of unique ways of seeing the world, of expressing oneself, and of connecting to a community and a history that stretches back generations.
Exactly. Each language embodies a distinct cultural perspective, a way of understanding and interacting with the world that's irreplaceable.
So as we conclude this deep dive into the world of Brittonic languages, I'm left with a sense of wonder and a renewed appreciation for the richness and complexity of language. It's clear that these languages, even though they've faced challenges over the centuries, have left an indelible mark on the landscape, the vocabulary, and perhaps even the very soul of Britain.
I'm delighted that you've gained a deeper understanding of these often overlooked languages, and I hope this exploration inspires you to continue your own linguistic adventures, to listen closely for those echoes of the past, and to appreciate the profound ways in which language shapes our world and our understanding of who we are.
Well said. And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring. Delve into the place names in your area. Research the origins of some of your favorite words and see what linguistic treasures you can unearth. You might be surprised by the connections you discover and the stories that unfold.
Perhaps you'll even find yourself noticing subtle influences from languages you never expected, reminding you that the tapestry of language is woven from countless threads, each with its own unique history and beauty.
So keep your ears open, your minds curious, and your passion for language alive. Until next time, happy exploring.